Okay, here's another example of finding equations from given zeros, and here the zeros are given to be 5 and 3 minus 4i. I always want to write the simplest because there's some other possibilities, but this is understood. So we know that if 3 minus 4i is a 0, then we also must have its conjugate. So it's going to be 3 plus 4i. So those are going to be the roots, okay? So we'll multiply, so we'll first of all write this in factored form. So our p of x will be x minus 5 times x minus, and I have to put a parenthesis around this, 3 minus 4i, because I've got a negative in front of this, and then x minus parentheses 3 plus 4i. So don't forget that because we've got a negative sign because we're writing these as factors. Now it's still going to be equal to 0. And then I'll have to remove that before I multiply out. So now I've got x minus 5, and then I've got x negative 3 positive 4i, and then x minus 3 minus 4i. That equals 0. So there we go. So I hope you can see that. I got this kind of slanted, but there you go. Okay. This is my p of x. Okay. Hope that slant didn't bother you. Okay. So we've got to remember that we're subtracting when we write it in factored form, but if we're subtracting a binomial, we have to change both signs. So be very careful to write that step. Otherwise you could do a lot of work for nothing. Okay, now we've got a 3 by 3 multiplication, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to have some repeated terms, so I'm going to write this in that vertical method that I worked in a previous example. So I'll write the x minus 5 in front, and then I'll put a bracket here, and I'm going to write these. It's going to be even probably bigger than this. And I'll do my multiplications. I'm going to have 9 multiplications, and then probably another 2. So this is going to have maybe a total of 15 multiplications. 15, you may not like that, but that's kind of the way it has to go. So first of all, I multiply everything by x. So that's going to be, so I'll try to do these maybe in color. So I'll multiply everything by x. So x times x is x squared. X times negative 3 is negative 3x. And x times negative 4 is negative 4ix. Okay? Now I'm going to multiply everything by negative 3. So negative 3 times x is negative 3x. And negative 3 times negative 3 is positive 9. I don't have any 9s over here, so I'll write this over here. So we're writing our like terms. I hope that's obvious. And then negative times a negative is a positive, and 3 times 4 is 12i, and I don't have any I, so I'll write that over here, plus 12i. Okay, and then last, I'll multiply everything by 4i, so I've got positive 4ix, positive 4ix, and then negative 12i, so I'll write that over here. And then finally I've got a positive times a negative is negative, and then that's going to be negative. Got to write it over here, and it's going to be 16i. So there we go. So we got all these terms. I put a bracket over there, and that'd be 16i squared. Pardon me, because I've got positive times a negative is a negative, and then 4 times 4 is 16, and then I times I is I squared. Okay, so that's I squared. I hope you can see that. And I'm going to kind of combine all my terms. So I've got p of x equals x minus 5. And then I've got an x squared. And I've got negative 6x. And notice that these are opposites, so they'll cancel. And then I've got plus 9 over here. And then these are opposites. Plus 12i minus 12i. So they become 0. And then I've got negative 16i squared. Okay, so now I've got P of x equals x minus 5, and I've got x squared minus 6x plus 9, and what is I? That's negative 1. All right, so now I've got P of x equals x minus 5, and then I've got x squared minus 6x, and what's a negative times a negative? Positive, so this is going to be positive 16. I can write that down over here so you can see that. And what's 9 plus 16? 25, so we'll save a line here, we'll write plus 25. So now we had a lot of terms here, but a lot zeroed out or simplified, so this is what we have. We've got a binomial times a trinomial, and now we have to multiply, so now we're going to have our 6 multiplications, and we can just do this in vertical form again. So x times x squared is x cubed minus 6x squared plus 25x, just add an x or add one to the exponent. And then we can multiply by negative 5, so it's going to be negative 5x squared. And a negative times a negative is a positive 30x. And finally, a negative times a positive is a negative, and that's going to be 125. And then we can add those all up. This is P of x. And again, all these are equal to 0. I don't think I have room over here, but all these are equal to 0. And this is going to end up being P of x equals, and then I can simplify our terms, x cubed minus 11x squared plus 55x minus 125. Sorry about this. There's 5's there. And there we go. So there's your polynomial equation. Draw kind of a line on there. We're going to add those up. So all these would actually add would be 0 also. Okay? So x cubed minus 11x squared plus 55x minus 125. So there's a bit of work there. And using this vertical method kind of makes it a little bit easier for me to see what's going on because I know I'm going to have like terms, so I line them up. Okay? And I hope you can see that. Positive times negative is a negative. 4 times 4 is 16. I squared. Okay? So there's a bit of work to that one. You can always go back, pause it, and make sure you follow everything. Okay?